I first got interested in Bobby Vala's Action Force line with a aftermarket purchase of a Series 1 Condor. It was my kind of reinitiation into the 1/12 scale action figure line after starting my adult collecting hobby back up with Transformers. At first, he was just going to be a complement to my slowly growing G.I. Joe Classified series line, but I started to find myself enjoying this figure and the world that Bobby Vala was creating more and more as time went on. So much so that I made it a point to try to get every product that Bobby Vala has produced. And I've been successful so far, except for purchasing a Wave 1 prototype set and the bloody variant of the Bone Collector. So much so that when I go out to take photography, I always carry a box of Valaverse figures. And I have about 11 of these boxes. So I like to say I know a little bit about this. And my collection increased this week with the addition of at least 2 of the Valaverse Vanguards. This is his newest product that came out. We're going to talk about it here on Junkyard Crafts and Builds. We'll talk about the vehicle, we'll talk about the Reaper, and what it shows us for Series 5. And I'm going to close out by talking about the toy community and some of the craziness that has been going on in the past couple months about this product. So let's see what the buzz is about the Vanguard here on Junkyard Crafts and Builds. Relax, hold on to your butts. I know this is kind of a drastic change. Reason being, the stuff I had filmed downstairs in the workshop had a blue screen of death on my laptop while I was transferring stuff over, and it corrupted all my files that I had filmed. So we're going to try this again in the old Navy style. We're going to muscle our way through this. By the time I get this out, you're going to have lots of other videos showing the same features and everything. And then we'll get into some of the other things that have been going on, as I discussed in the beginning. So as you can see, I got both Vanguards here, and I'm going to have a few more of these beautiful stealth grays coming in, including a muddy variant. So I'm excited for that. I'll definitely show you that when it gets in. So yeah, let's just get into my thoughts of the Vanguard real quick. So enough talking, let's get a look at the Vanguard closer. So here we are with a closer look at the Desert Tan Vanguard, and first impressions, it's a very impressive looking vehicle in regards to the size, the weight, just the sheer presence of having this vehicle in hand. It's a pretty fantastic piece. It's really a beautiful looking toy. And that's the main thing, is like this is modeled after the Resvani tank, obviously. You know, it's real world. So the soccer mom, tired old joke or jab at Valaverse, it's blown out of the water when you actually have this in hand. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I mean, this thing just, it's nice. It's really a nice, like I said, sturdy vehicle. So, and it does have some decent features and some things that, barring what you heard, good or bad, I find that I am in agreement with. So let's just get into that right now. So starting with the bottom, obviously, like I said, this plastic and this rubber for the tires is very, very sturdy. All right, this has some durable play features with it. You know, I'm not going to be afraid to move this around, roughhouse a little bit, take it outside, get a little mud on it, and there's some things I wish were kind of a little more pronounced. And the main thing here are the rims. This plastic here, while it's nice and firm, it's very very shallow, very static. But this is something where I think like an accent paint, or at least a wash to bring some depth into this, is going to be beneficial. And again, customizers can do that with it. We have this overall texture on the Vanguard top here. It's really nice, but it's not, that quote unquote shampoo level plastic. We know some of the working features. A winch that does work, all right, and then you have this little turn or spool here to pull it up and down. As you can see here, we have a steering column, so you can turn the steering wheel, and we have the front wheels turn, which is cool. Definitely better than having a vehicle with static tires that do nothing but go straight. And because of that, of course, a lot of the complainers talking about there's no engine feature, nothing to bring up and see the inside. Looking at it and trying to be objective and be empathetic to the criticism, yeah, it would have been a cool thing to see, to raise this up and have a really detailed engine, especially when you have a driver. Of course, there's comparisons to another vehicle that has that feature, and I really don't see a lot of people utilizing it, but hey, if it's there and you want to use it, cool. Suicide doors that are removable. Very nice touch. They're very easy to remove, and we have a nice detail here on the inside of the doors. It could have just been plain black plastic for all anyone wanted, right? And again, we can pull that off the back door here as well. Again, very easy to come off, and that allows you access to the inside. So let's check that out. So looking at the inside of the Vanguard, we can see that there's a really cool looking detail here of this leather sculpt that Bobby has been talking about throughout the production of the Vanguard. And this is a more glossy plastic for the seats, front and back. Some complain that it looks cheap. I don't think it is. I think it actually helps sell the illusion of it being a leather. Mileage varies on what people's opinion are. What's another thing that's pretty cool in regards to the sculpt is this bottom here. This texture definitely reminds me of like friends who have trucks that do that Rhino line to protect the interior from mud, water, and all that stuff. So that's a nice realistic touch there. I think it's pretty cool. We do have adjustable seats for the Vanguard that allow you to put different size figures in here, which we'll check that out later on. But it gives you a lot of really nice space, in the back for figures. The highlight for the front and back is we have in here cup holders. It's a nice little decent touch, a little bit of humor and that into the sculpt versus complaints for having them in there. Don't know why. Checking out the interior from the passenger side, we can see again these little vents sculpted in. We have the nice little center console here that has accent paints here of like a silver. For the main display in the front here that shows a lot of different information and different dials and whatnot. Down here to a gear shift. Unfortunately, the gear shift or the brake does not move. Again, you're going to have your figures in there. Are they going to be moving in real life? Probably not. But I wish one thing we did have was kind of like a sticker or some sort of tampo in here showing some sort of display, whether it's vehicle stats, targeting, something in there, something to give it a little bit of life. So maybe that's something I'll try to print out on my wife's Cricut, just a little customization. Continuing on the interior from the driver's side, we have our clutch, brake, and gas pedals here molded into the bottom. And then we have our steering wheel. Like I said, it's attached to the steering column, and some more dials and potential spots for indicators here. Again, the challenge we have, other than the Tampo, the Action Force logo here, not much else going on. Wish we could have had something in there. Again, maybe there's going to be more optional stickers later on, or customizers might be making their own water slides or sticker sets for consumers to purchase. I don't know why I have to explain this, but let's go through it. Because these are suicide doors, people complain that it doesn't sit flush. Well, that's because you have to close the back door first and then the front door, and there it is, nice and flush. Hopefully that helps someone. Moving into the back, we have this really nice large trunk space here that obviously has been designed to hold at least a figure. Now we're going to start looking at some of the different weapon systems that we have for the Vanguard, and default piece we have here is the man hatch that goes on top. Complaints that it's a non-functioning item. You just kind of stick it in and that's it. If the hatch was there, that would have been really cool. It's something I can go along with and say, yep, hopefully this is something Bobby takes in regards to the feedback that he gets. And it's another optional item, or maybe something that's added into some sort of other feature for the Vanguard that it comes in, and we can get something that allows you to simulate someone opening the door to open up a weapon if the turret or missile system is not in place. Next weapon system we're going to talk about that mounts on top of the Vanguard is one that I was actually excited for. And the first thing we're going to do is talk about this really fantastic missile system. I do like this a lot. It's a nice big chunky piece of plastic with some black accent pieces here. Really nicely constructed, good and strong. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to use my nail, right? That's how we determine if plastic's good or not. And we get 12 of these missiles. Now these are simple black plastic with a gunmetal silver accent here on the tip. And the sculpt's fairly decent, I think. We even have the back of the engine here for it to launch off. And they click. Love that clicking sound. Want to hear it again. Oh, so nice. And they really fit well, and they look really awesome when this is fully stocked. But they're not here to just look pretty. They're here to be an offensive weapon. And we have blast effects, of course. And I love how Bobby actually packaged these blast effects. Every one of them has their own, bed in this plastic here. So that way they are straight as an arrow. And of course we have 3 of these missiles launching off at different lengths, and then of course the back blast effect. So let's go ahead and get this all armored up and onto the Vanguard. So we're getting everything launched here and in place, but I just wanted to show you once again. Here's the blast effect out of that package, and again, it's nice and straight, it's nice and firm. This is a good translucent plastic here. It's not bendy at all. Attached to this missile here, we have this actual, true to life color scheme here for a launch. It's not white going to red, but we have this yellowish going down to the orange red here. And like everything else, it clips onto the Vanguard quite easily. And as you can see, it's not coming off at all. All right, we have this nice soft ratchet feel as it goes around left and right. And we got to click up for it to elevate. One click down and get back into place. Sorry guys, you can't aim the missiles down. I know, what's he thinking? But I think what we have here is a very nice, impressive looking weapon system. Let's talk about the other weapon system for the Vanguard, and that is the machine gun turret. Contention time for everyone. But here we have the turret that's going to go on top of the Vanguard and the dual-barreled machine gun. This has been quite the talking point and the buzz behind the Vanguard in regards to some of the design choices that went into play with this. Enough detail here with the rivet pieces going around. I'm probably going to take some of the clear plastic that I have from other boxes and kind of put some sort of window here on the edges. What's a good turret without a weapon system? Which we have this dual machine gun here with ammo cans already in place. What I do wish we had was some sort of design choice to allow, say, the gravity feed from the minigun from Weapons Pack Golf, allow that to be plugged into this. That would have been really cool. Hollow plastic waffle here definitely is a detractor in my opinion. Not sure where that came into play. Same thing here on the back. And yes, the main contention, it can go left and right, not elevate. But we will get to what the toy community is going to do here as we go along. Definitely has a presence there. Again, that soft ratchet to go around, and then the machine gun going across. Let's go into the other piece that comes with this, and that is the blast effect. I get it, it's for dramatic presence, and it does do that. So if we just plug it in here onto the machine gun, there you go with the blast effect on the turret going around. It is a bit of a weighty thing on top of these, on top of this here. But yeah, it's there. It can be used. Again, a nice wash or something to kind of bring a little more depth into this would be a plus. And you know, you can pull it out and reverse it over if you want the different rounds going off in different angles. So the two final things we're going to talk about with the Vanguard specifically before we get into the Reaper figure is that we have one or two cool things that really harkens back to having those G.I. Joe Real American Hero vintage vehicles in our hands when we were younger. And that is Bobby provides a operation manual for the Vanguard. It's really cool in regards to just, like I said, the old G.I. Joe manuals. It has everything kind of laid out. Here's all the features we talked about. You know, really cool. And then we also have, for those that say it's really plain, he provides recommended labels. Well, what are labels, you say? He provides us with a sticker set here. Now, again, everyone's like, well, why don't they use tampos? Well, because I personally don't want to have a lot of these things on here. At most, I might put the small Action Force stickers onto the Vanguard for my specific Action Force item. You get a sheet with every Vanguard, but hey, you might want to use these on other items. So, or some of the other vehicles you might create on your own or purchase or customize. Keep using that word customize for some reason. That's the main discussion with the Vanguard. Now, I do want to focus on the Reaper because it gives us a taste of what we're going to see later on this fall with Series 5. And here we are, guys, looking at for me, one of the most important parts of this this play set, and that is the Reaper figure. So I kind of have all the accessories laid out that comes with the Reaper. Yes, some of this is for the Vanguard itself, but this is stuff that he's going to interact with. First thing I want to start off with is showing the really awesome combat profiles for the Reaper. And when I say they're awesome, it is because of this beautiful artwork we have here from my friend Quentin J. Bedwell. We first saw his artwork with Series 4, but now his art is really shining here with the Reaper. I love this art so much. I love the guy to death. So Quentin, thank you so much for being just an amazing person, and your artwork and your skill set is absolutely amazing, and it enhances everything for this playset and this toy line. So bravo for you. So the description is the same for both types here. So I will show you this one, and you can pause it if you wish to read and talk about the accessories real quick. We'll just run through them, and we're going to utilize our Desert Tan Reaper here. We start out with the newly designed foot stand that, of course, has the back. So if you do want to display your Reaper not in the vehicle, you have that option as well. Really cool, nice, thoughtful touch. But the cool thing is, when we start getting these together, as you can see, they're designed to interlock. I don't know if anyone else has shown that to you yet. I haven't really watched a lot of reviews, but that's kind of cool that you can start putting these together and having a nice long display piece for your collection if you wish. And we also have an increase of foot pegs by 2. So instead of 4, we now have 6 foot pegs to give you more options to display your figure. Speaking of tea, we have drink options, because why not? And it's a cool little neat thing here. So we have an energy drink that says Vanguard, and then we have our Action Force coffee, whether it's a latte, cappuccino, macchiato, just no pumpkin spice. We're not a bunch of pussies here. Moving on, man. We have jerry cans that are going to fit in the Vanguard. Notches on the bottom. What is a Valaverse figure without hand options? And of course, we have default trigger hands. We have default C gripping hands, or item holding hands. But what we have here is they are on a horizontal, or I'm sorry, a vertical hinge now, versus a horizontal hinge. We have our cupping hands, which are on horizontal hinges. There you go. And then, of course, we have fists, also on horizontal hinges. So we've seen a bit of a change now in regards to an item holding hand, that you now can have your combat blade or other item and actually be able to hold that the same as you would hold your weapon. Speaking of weapons, the Reaper comes with a newly designed pistol with blast effect compatibility. Nice sculpt, basic black. Only thing is, no weapon storage. That kind of stinks because this can be easily lost, if not on the figure itself. We also have this heavy machine gun that will be used in the back of the Vanguard or on the figure itself. Again, some people are saying that this sculpt is a little soft. I'm not sure if Mark II Design helped put this together or not. It does kind of look like some of the weapon packs that I've gotten from Mark II Design in regards to just the amount of detail. Again, what's missing is you have this belt that comes with this figure, right? And that can tab into the slot there for the MG, but there is nothing to show weapon or cartridges being ejected. That kind of sucks. But if you're not wanting to hold it in the figure's hand, we also have the back or side mount for the turret. This is what clips onto the turret itself. So here's the MG on its arm on the turret, and criticisms that have been discussed is that it sits too high. I would agree with that, especially if there's no way to brace the figure. Again, it's relying on the trigger hand to keep it in place. Other criticism is that this gun falls off easily from the tab due to the ammo belt being fed into the gun. People are talking about cutting off one of the rounds or two to kind of make this a little straighter going in, and therefore keeping this from popping off. So that's all the accessories that come with the Reaper. So let's start looking at the figure himself. So here we have the Reaper. Let's kind of go through the aesthetics real quick. And I will admit, the first time I was looking at the images of the Reaper and the design, I wasn't too keen on it. I thought that the drawings and the promo pictures or the prototypes, his body looked very narrow. The shoulders looked a little small. He looked a little puffy. I thought his neck was really long. And then the face sculpt with the mask, especially when I saw the prototypes at Zolicon back in February of this year, which is 2024. It wasn't my highly anticipated figure for Series 5. Having him in hand though and playing around with a little bit, I have started to grow a little more fond of this guy. As you can see, he's definitely a bare bones figure, and that's not a bad thing because, again, his position is going to be a driver, and we can customize him with other weapons and accessory packs because all Series 5 figures are going to be backwards compatible with everything we've had from Series 1 through 4. Looking at him here, we have this newly sculpted body in this kind of a jumpsuit uniform here. I will say, looking at some of the other pre-orders, the legs, arms, waist, and boots, we're going to see again in the Recon Trooper Army Builder. So that's going to be a lot of, fodder here for customizers to start kit bashing and mix and matching with some of the other figures that we have in the line. I wasn't the biggest fan of this head sculpt. I feel like the mask portion is a little squished, but having it side by side with another figure here, and this is not the best example, but you can kind of see where they could, the head could potentially, be in place. I think it's a little small. I think it's a little squished. I do like, the glossy black for the goggles against the matte paint and on the rest of the figure here. The sculpt for the new body torso here is nice. I don't know if we're going to see this in other figures. I'm assuming we are, but I know it's not going to be on the Recon Trooper. You have this nice detail in regards to having all these pockets kind of built into the jumpsuit. We also now have new lower sculpted boots tucked in, so that's nice. And these boots do look fairly decent. Let's go into the most important part now, which is articulation and the new engineering, and that's going to be up here at the neck. So we have a ball peg in the torso going up into this neck piece, and then a ball hinge at the top, which I will show you now. Okay, so here we are, headless, and as you can see, the combination of the two will allow for a lot more nuanced movement here for our figures. So now we have the head back on, and again, we have a lot of range here with that ball peg at the bottom going up to the hinge. We have still a huge range looking up for the figure, down that far. Good range all around using this combination. The only thing we kind of get as a bit of a sacrifice to the sculpt is that you have this space here for the neck, so it looks like, you know, he's wearing something, you know, a turtleneck or whatever you would call it. So that sculpt is kind of there, so that could sacrifice some aesthetics when we get to figures that aren't going to be wearing a full suit. So what happens if we put this head on the Reaper's body? And here we have Condor on the Reaper body, and this is where I'm saying, depending on the angle that you look at it, the neck looks extremely long with that head on. And I've been trying some different heads from different figures, and to me, other than maybe the Steel Brigade heads, I'm getting kind of the same vibes. And it does kind of sit a little odd in the back here, depending on the cut of the head. Here we can, oops, it does pop off, sorry about that. Let's get him back on. So there is the range up for him. But you can see, like, you start lending that back. So that's something to consider when you start kit bashing this figure, or any figure with Series 5 with some of the older heads. That may be something of a detriment for you. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the possibility of kit bashing these new figures. All right, so we're back with the Reaper. Let's quickly go through the rest of articulation. You can strike your T-pose, rotation all the way around. We do have our generous butterfly as always, which allows for a real easy simulation of, you know, cross arm. We got that. We got our bicep swivel straight across, no real cut into the bicep. Double jointed pinless, we're used to that. We have our double ball peg torso system here. You get a lot of twisting here across, rotation around for those that want to. You can combo arcing back that far, forward a fair amount before it starts breaking the sculpt here. Waist swivel, a little tight going on to this bottom part here with the waist. This is a harder plastic. It does feel a little tight around there, but again, you can also get your twist on the upper part here as well. My drop downs on this figure are a little loose, so might need to key that hinge there for my guy. Thigh swivel and rotation, using them both. You can kick up really far, back a little bit before the butt starts getting in the way. We got our double jointed knees. Now, we do have a boot cut, and it's hidden here in the jumpsuit sculpt. So it kind of rotates there. Don't know how much I like that. I kind of wish it was kind of further down here, but it is what it is. It's still smartly hidden. And then, of course, we get our ankle pivot down, pivot up, and rotation there. So overall, the Reaper has grown on me. That new neck articulation is awesome. Going prone with our Reaper here, as you can see, he can still definitely look up while being prone and holding his weapon system in front of him, ready to unleash hell. Snipers from other lines can only go maybe up to there. So I'm not sure how you're looking downrange, but to me, utilizing the torso and that neck, you can definitely get some nice poses now. I'm very pleased with the Reaper and what we're going to get. So that kind of gives me a little more positive anticipation for Series 5. And just to show a little bit of that compatibility that we talked about, here I have him with the Desert Trooper gear with his plate vest, belt, med pouch on the side, and holding the M4 in place. So let's get him back in the Vanguard. And after about 20 minutes of getting everything in place, this is what we call the money shot. So this is the Vanguard fully loaded up with personnel and armaments. And saying, 10 figures, it does take a little bit of time getting them all together, but we have it here and it does look really awesome. Some things to look at here as we get a little closer. Definitely got to get your arms in some weird positions to get the hands onto these handbars across the top of the Vanguard. It seems like they're very much stretched into position here. But, we're going to get as much as we can. We have our driver and passenger here. And on the other side, we have our doors off here to show off Condor and a Desert Steel Brigade looking ahead and gets shouting orders. We got Desert Rat in here, sipping his coffee black, of course, and holding on as the Reaper kind of weaves around. In the back here for a little more support as we zoom in, we've got Kill Switch and the Sarge rooting them on as we drive into battle. There's another close-up of old Desert Rat holding his coffee in place. And just to ensure we don't have any unwanted guests coming up behind, we have our lovely little trooper here in position holding the gun at the ready. We have our gunner in position as well on the turret. We got 2 figures inside, and we can move around here relatively well, and it doesn't appear that I'm hitting anyone. So that's really cool looking. Definitely has a presence here, but I think we got something. And here's where we're going to roll into the whole idea of the toy community and the customizers. For those that state they don't customize their vehicles, they miss out on things like this. So I showed it in a video earlier of a 3D printer and friend, member of the 3POA, Suka, designed this little adapter piece, which I printed out. And that's going to allow us to, have a little more freedom with that gun. And we have Suka's adapter in place here, but as you can see, it holds relatively well. It's really toleranced nicely. So that also allows positioning, so you can go and aim downwards. So if he's going to the side, as we've had many people complain, what if he's on the side and you can't hit anyone? Well, now he can aim downwards and unleash hell on a vehicle smaller than him, maybe in a green or a black that's along the side here. So here it is with now the missile system. And, we lose a seat, but we gain a really awesome looking display here. Oh, and before I forget, yes, we do have a shovel here. Heaven forbid I don't talk to that. Yes, it's a little flexible, but it's not gummy. We got a nice little bit of sculpt there with the serrated side, rivets holding the blade in place, and you can stick it back on, and it's not going to come back off. So we've talked about the vehicle, the figure, the accessories, the quantity of figures it can carry. So let's close out by talking about what the community has been going on about here ever since this vehicle was announced. So let's debunk a couple things right now. Is it cheap plastic? No. Is it a soccer mom van? No. It's based off a real-life military vehicle. Does it need to have a steering column and lose the hood and everything inside of it? Maybe. Maybe it's something that could have been worked out. You know, it could have just been, you know, this opening, the hood would open up and then there's a small sculpted-in engine. Would have been a nice feature? Yeah. I'll give a little bit of credence to that one. All right. Is it plain? It is molded plastic and matte, minus the interior for the seats that are glossy. I don't see that as a bad thing. I see this as an open palette for customizers to go forth and make it their own. And you are also provided a sticker sheet. Yes, it's not Tampo. And you know what? I'm happy that it's not. I'm happy we got a base here to work from, because I wouldn't want to definitely have, oh, you know, here's Carrick and the Garrison driving in this, and there's a big old Steel Brigade emblem right on front. It doesn't make sense to me. All right. The turret sucks and it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't suck per se. Is there some questionable design decisions? I could say, yeah. But, you know, as I showed, the toy community is coming in. Those that are willing to provide something for fans that will give them that additional access to articulation and play features. You're getting that right now. Will you get something official later on? Who knows? The only one that knows that right now is going to be Bobby. You now have a vehicle for under $200 that you can do whatever you freaking want with it. Is this a waste of $184 with free shipping? Absolutely not. I think this is a really awesome display piece and a really cool toy. You know, this is a playset that you can do a lot with. And, you know, I am happy with my purchases. Like I said, I have a Stealth Gray and this Desert Tan. I also ordered one of the Muddy variants, which I will show whenever it shows up here. I wish everyone who does get one of these and actually has it in hand before they start criticizing gives it a fair shake. I know that's not going to be the case because it's the internet, but here we have this. So if you had the Vanguard, let me know in the comments below. What do you think about it? Did I point out everything that you were thinking of that coulda, woulda, shoulda? Are there things that I missed? Let me know. And as always, I do ask, if you would, besides your comment, like and share the video. And if I've earned your viewing pleasure, subscribe to the channel, because when I hit 1,000 subscribers, because I care about you guys and everything, I'm going to give away a Vanguard. I don't know if I'll have a tan or a gray one. I got to see which one I'm going to have in here. So help me get to that number and help me help you guys get one of these in your hands. That's everything for the video, guys. Thank you very much for putting up with the whole changing of scenery here. Like I said, it kind of sucked when you're you're working on something and then it craps on you and you lose everything. But I think that worked out well. It gave me another opportunity to do something better. So that's everything, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.